So I have a chair set up here. I'm going to have some options available for doing the practice seated and using a chair. So if you want to get a chair real quick, you can have one handy. Otherwise, mostly what we're going to be doing is sitting on the floor and laying down. So it's going to be a pretty gentle practice. I've got some tea, I've got my notes. So we'll get rolling in just a few minutes. So I'm streaming live on Facebook right now, and I'm not monitoring the comments there, but please do feel free to ask questions and comments, and then after the practice, I'll check back in on Facebook and respond. So if you have any questions or if there's something that you'd like to see, leave it for me and I'll get back to it. So I cannot see you while we're practicing here. So I have enabled on the Zoom here. I've got my iPad and there is a Q&A. So if you have a question, go ahead and put it in the Q&A. And you can also use the chat to ask questions there. So I'll set up, I'll hang out and wait for people to roll in. Hope everybody is feeling good this morning. And you'll need just a little bit of space front to back so that you can lay down. We're going to do some reclining twists, so if you can carve out a little room on your floor, that would be great. So before we get started, I'll talk a little bit about why yoga and why my approach to yoga is particularly useful for belly dance. So as you are probably aware, belly dance requires a lot of strength and mobility around the spine and the hips and low back and hips, even with the most pristine posture, can really take a beating through belly dance. So yoga is really helpful because it can help maintain balance and compensate for all that wear and tear around low back and hips. So yoga in general is great because it is a mind-body practice that allows you to develop a better relationship with yourself and more sensitivity, how your body's feeling. It helps you to relax and have a more focused state of mind. So really there's so many approaches to yoga that can do that for you. And the approach that we're going to use today is Vini Yoga. So Vini Yoga is a practice that is passed down from a yoga teacher named Krishnamacharya by way of Desikachar, by way of my teacher, Gary Kraskow. And so among the many tools Vini Yoga uses is an approach to using the breath to help mobilize the spine and establish a relationship between the hips and low back and between the low back and upper back. So we can use the breath to help control the movement of the spine and to improve flexibility and stability around the spine and hips. So that is why just structurally it's so awesome for belly dance, because there's a particular awareness of that area that we use so much in dance. So the practice that we're going to be doing today, the focus is going to be on helping to compensate for the wear and tear of dance. So this is a good practice to do after a dance practice, or like we're doing right now. Well, maybe you get up earlier than I do and you've already done some dancing, but it's good to do just as general cross training. It doesn't have to be directly after your dance practice. This is a nice morning practice too, because we're going to start laying down and then we'll do a little bit more active stuff towards the end, but still it's going to stay pretty gentle. So if you want, you can be sitting on a chair or you can be sitting on the floor. It's totally fine either way. So we'll go ahead and get started with the practice bit of things. So go ahead and just make yourself comfortable. And again, you can be on a chair, you can be sitting on the floor. And just take a moment to settle in so that you feel connected to the ground that you're sitting on, and just wiggle your spine a little longer. You can close your eyes if you like. And so, as I mentioned, this is a breath-centric practice, so we're going to pay attention to the feeling of the breath in and out. So you can begin just by sensing the feeling of the air moving in and out through your nose, and just notice where you feel your breath moving your body. You might be able to feel the rise and fall of your chest or your belly. If you like, you can put one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly just to feel where your breath might be moving your spine and your torso. And if you prefer, you can have your hands resting in your lap. And then we're going to begin to use the Vinyasa default way of breathing. So what you'll do is when you inhale next, widen your ribs and lift your chest. And at the end of your inhale, relax your belly. And then as you exhale, contract your belly in and up, and then relax your ribs and chest and shoulders down. So when you inhale, ribs expand and chest lifts, then belly relaxes. And then when you exhale, belly in, ribs close, chest relaxes. So you can think when you inhale, you're filling from the top down. And when you exhale, you're exhaling from the bottom up. So a few more breaths like that. When you inhale, widen your ribs, lift your chest, relax your belly. And then when you exhale, belly in, ribs down, chest down. And if it's hard to feel that, it's okay. We're going to use that same direction throughout the practice, and it might be easier to feel once we get moving. So if you are seated on the floor, you can go ahead and lay on your back. If you're using the chair, put your hands on your thighs. Either way, when you're laying on the ground, go ahead and put your hands on your knees. And if you're sitting on a chair, put your hands on your knees. And when you inhale, lift your chest. And then when you exhale, if you're in the chair, you're going to round your torso and look in towards your belly. And then when you inhale, lift your chest. And if you're laying on the ground, when you exhale, you're going to bring your knees into your chest. And when you inhale, press your knees away from you. So do that a couple times at your own pace. So when you exhale, chest and knees come towards one another. And when you inhale, chest and knees move away from each other. So this is just gentle stretch for your low back and a little bit of mobilization of your hips. And see if you can feel that relationship between your breath and your movement. So when you exhale, your belly compresses and helps to squeeze the air out. And when you inhale, your knees move away or your chest moves away, and you make a little more room for your inhale. Let's do that 2 more times at your own pace. And then when you're ready, you can keep your knees in towards your chest if you're on your back. If you're seated in a chair, when you inhale, you're going to lift your chest, and everyone open your arms out to a T. If you're in a chair, you can bend your elbows like a cactus, or if you have limited space on the floor, you can bend your elbows like a cactus. And then on your next exhale, your knees are going to go to the right, while your chest goes to the left. So if you're sitting, you're gonna rotate to the left and inhale back to center. And then when you exhale, you're gonna rotate the other way. So we're gonna alternate sides a couple times. So when you exhale, you're gonna twist. And you can turn your head opposite of your knees if you like. Inhale to center. And exhale and twist. So you can do that a couple times at your own pace, alternate side to side. And when you exhale, feel how your belly squeezes in and helps that rotation side to side. And then when you get to that first side of the twist, you can stay there for a few breaths. So if you are laying on the ground, you can put a hand on your knee. And if you're seated in the chair, you can put one hand on your knee and one hand holding onto the back of the chair. And focus on nice, long, smooth breaths in and out as you stay here. And then on your next inhale, bring your knees back up to center. If you're sitting in a chair, rotate back to the front. And then when you exhale, twist to the other side. And again, you can place a hand on a knee to help direct that twist a little bit more. Each exhale, belly squeezes in, helps with that rotation to the side. And then each inhale, you can relax your belly and make a little bit more space. Back off the twist a little bit. And then on your next exhale, you can come, on your next inhale, you can come back to center. And then when you exhale, bring your knees into your chest, or if you're sitting in a chair, you can take a little seated forward bend in the chair. And then take your time just to come back to a neutral spine and have a hand on each knee. So next thing we're gonna do is a little oppositional movement. So this is nice to help focus your mind. So if you are sitting in a chair, you're gonna have one hand on each knee. And if you're laying on your back, same deal, you're gonna have one hand on each knee. And when you inhale, you're gonna straighten your right leg and reach your left arm up overhead. And then when you exhale, lower that side down. And then when you inhale, straighten your left leg and reach your right arm up and overhead. So if you're laying on your back, it will look like this. So you're laying on your back. Inhale, straighten left leg, right arm. And exhale back down. And inhale, straighten right leg, left arm up and overhead. And exhale back down. So we're going to do this. Let's do 2 more times to each side. Inhale, opposite arm and leg. And exhale down. And inhale, opposite arm and leg. And exhale down. So what we're doing here, in addition to that focus of opposite sides, when you inhale, you're using your arm and leg like levers to help lengthen your spine. So you might feel a stretch across your back. You might also feel that engagement of your abs to keep your torso stable and your spine maintaining its natural curves. And then we're gonna do a couple times with both. So inhale, straighten both legs, both arms. And then exhale and lower back down. And inhale, both legs, both arms. And again, kind of press your spine down into the ground as you stretch arms and legs. A nice, slow, smooth movement. And then next time your arms come overhead, we're going to stay there for a couple breaths. So inhale, arms come overhead, legs straighten. And then when you exhale, you can bend your knees and relax just slightly. And then when you inhale, you can stretch your arms and legs just a little bit more strongly. So a couple times. Exhale, just back off a little bit. And then inhale, stretch. And feel your spine lengthen. And one last time, exhale, a little soft, knees. And inhale, stretch a little more. Good, and then when you exhale, it might feel nice to hug both knees into your chest for a moment. And if you're seated in the chair, you can take a little gentle forward bend. I'm gonna stand up to show you the next thing so that you can see what's going on, but you stay laying on the ground. So what you're doing, laying on the ground, we're gonna make a little banana shape with your body. So you're gonna lay on the ground and move your feet just a few inches over to the right, and they'll stay together. So I'm going to be shifting my feet over to one side. And then you're going to reach your right arm up and over. So you're going to make a banana shape with your body here. So when you exhale, you're going to sweep your arm down towards your hip and look down towards your left shoulder. And then when you inhale, you're going to sweep your arm up and over and look at your hand. So banana shape on the ground. If you're seated in a chair, you can use that same arm pathway. And instead you'll take your feet a little wide, place one elbow on your thigh, and same pathway. Exhale, look down at your shoulder. Inhale, reach your arm up and over. And exhale, look down. So what we're doing here, that little shift of the feet to one side if you're laying on your back, and this side bend if you are propped up on your thigh, we're getting into stretching the side of the waist and the side of the hip. Which we use obliques and QL a lot in belly dance for all shimmies, hip up and downs. So next time your arm comes up overhead, you're gonna stay there. You can stay looking up at your arm or down towards the floor, whichever one feels best on your neck and shoulders. And when you inhale, really feel this side of your waist expand. So you breathe a little bit more into one side of your ribs. And they're both getting air, but it's what you're imagining is happening. And then same deal, when you exhale, you can relax a little bit. And when you inhale, just stretch a little bit more. And then on your next exhale, bring your arm back down. And then when you inhale, align yourself straight again. Bring your feet back to center if you're laying on your back. And then we'll do the other side. So I'll lay down on the floor. I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see me, but we'll give that a try on the other side. So you're going to shift your feet over to the left. And when you inhale, reach your right arm up and over. And you can look at your arm. And then when you exhale, turn your head towards the left as your arm comes down. You get a little stretch on the side of your neck when you're turning your head side to side. So inhale, arm stretches up, look towards your hand, And then when you exhale, sweep your arm back down again. So I also think this arm pathway is like being a snow angel. I don't know, does anybody got snow anymore? I don't know. Probably somewhere there's snow. Carpet angel, in my case. Hardwood floor angel. So next time you inhale, we'll hang on to that stretch on the other side. So stay in the side bend. So arm reaches up and over. You can look towards your lifted arm or you can look away. You can have your head straight ahead, whatever feels best on your neck. And again, when you inhale, just feel like you're inflating this side of your ribs and side of your waist to give yourself a little more stretch, just using your breath, not by even moving your body at all, just a little bit more air, stretching your belly and your ribs. And then on your next exhale, sweep your lifted arm back down, move your feet back to center, and then bring both knees into your chest. And again, if you're seated in your chair, you can do a gentle forward bend here. And you can do this moving or still. So inhale, reach your knees away from you, and exhale, knees in towards your chest. So a couple times. And then we're going to add on to this. So if you're laying on your back, you're going to catch hold of the back of your knees. If you're seated in a chair, extend your legs straight. You might need to slide a little something under your heels, a pillow or something. And so when you inhale, straighten your legs and hold on to the back of your knees. And exhale, bend your knees. So this is similar to what we just did with this arm. So if you loved this one, you can add the arms back in. But holding onto the back of the knees gives you just a little bit more stretch for hamstrings. So if you're seated in the chair, you can do that original version that we just did a moment ago with leg straightening and both arms overhead. And then I'll give you two options for the next thing. So option one, you're going to come around to hands and knees and step your right foot forward, and your ankle is going to be forward of your knee here, and just slide your left leg back so it's comfortable on your kneecap. And not everybody's knees love this, so if you're like, no, hang on a second, I'll show you on the chair. So knee version, you're going to have one hand on your front thigh, one arm along by your side. Exhale, pull in your belly. And then when you inhale, keep your pelvis stable as you bend your front knee a little and lift your chest and your arm. So if you keep your pelvis stable, you'll really get a feeling of stretch in the front of your hip. And exhale back. So what your pelvis will want to do is rotate forward, but we're going to resist that by keeping the abs in. Inhale, bend your front knee, lift your chest and arm, and exhale, come back. Chair version, you're going to sit on the corner of your chair and bend your front knee so that your back toes are tucked under. And when you inhale, you're going to press your back leg straight and lift your arm. And when you exhale, you're going to bend your knee again. So this one takes the pressure off of your back leg, and you still get that extension of your hip and stretch in the front of the thigh. So a couple times like that. Either way, inhale, lift your chest and reach your arm up, and exhale, arm comes back down. And we'll hold for a couple breaths on the next one. So as you hold here, when you exhale, again, pull in your low abs to help stabilize your pelvis. And when you inhale, think about lifting your sternum up on a diagonal so that your chest is slightly forward of your rib cage. And then when you exhale, lower your arm and come back to center. And then we'll do the other side. So again, if you're in the chair, you're gonna kind of pivot yourself so that you're sitting on the corner of it. So you have one butt cheek hanging off the side. Back knee is bent for starters, one hand on your front thigh. And then inhale, press your back leg straight. And exhale, arm comes back down. And if you're on your knees on the floor, one hand on front thigh. Inhale, you bend your front knee a little bit, lift your chest, your arm. And exhale, shift your weight over your back leg on your exhale. So again, a couple times. Inhale, lift your chest, lift your arm. And exhale, shift your weight back. So a lot of times in dance, we're using a bent knee posture to create shimmies and things. And that means front of the hips can be tight because we're flexing in the hip. So a little bit of extension here is nice stretch. So we're gonna stay next time you inhale. And same principle when you are holding, you're still using your breath. So when you inhale, you lift your chest a little more. When you exhale, you pull in your belly a little more. So you're making your spine longer with each breath. Each inhale, you lift your chest. And each exhale, you lengthen your low back. Okay, one more big inhale. And then exhale. Come on back to neutral. And then you're gonna come back to laying on your belly, or if you're seated in a chair, you're gonna come back to hands on knees. And we'll do a little forward bend if you want. So if you're seated in a chair, when you exhale, pull in your belly. And then when you inhale, pull with your hands to lift your chest. Kind of pull your chest through your arms. And exhale, come back, round your low back. Looking towards your belly. So keep that up if you're in the chair. If you're laying on your belly, we're gonna do a little Bhujangasana. So you're gonna lay on your belly, and your choice, you can either have your hands so that they're close to your ribs, or you can cactus them out so your palms are down outside of your shoulders, whatever feels best on your neck and shoulders. So we're gonna be doing what the chair folks are doing. When you inhale, lift your chest and pull your hands back. So you're pulling your chest through your hands, and exhale down. So instead of pushing into the floor, pull back with your hands to make your back muscles engage more. And exhale back down. You can either do forehead to the ground or turn your head to one side, whatever feels best. Inhale, lift your chest. So feel your back muscles do the work rather than pushing your hands to make your back bend look bigger. And exhale down. And then again, next time we'll hold for a couple breaths. So inhale, pull your chest through your hands and stay there. And exhale, belly in. And if you're sitting in the chair, same principle. When you inhale, pull back on your knees with your hands. And when you exhale, pull in your abs so that you're stabilizing your low back as you hold this back bend. One more big inhale. And when you exhale, lower back down. And it might feel nice to rest your head on your hands. Just gently rock your hips side to side. If you're seated in a chair, you can hang out in a forward bend, holding onto your legs. Relax with the back of your neck. And then if you're laying on the floor, you take your time to come up to hands and knees. And we'll do a little Chakravakasana here. So we're going to shift from hands and knees to child's pose. You know, imagine your spine is like a wave. So when you exhale, rotate your pelvis back, stretch your low back, bend your elbows, then round your upper back and take your forehead down. And then we reverse it on the inhale. So when you inhale, lift your chest and release your abs last. So exhale, belly in, stretch low back, stretch upper back, forehead down. When you inhale, pull with your hands just like that Bhujangasana we just did, and then relax your abs. If you're sitting in a chair, we're gonna do a little dynamic forward bend. So when you inhale, same deal, pull with your hands, lift your chest, and then when you exhale, drop your chin down, round your low back, slide your hands down your legs, and when you inhale, lift your chest, pull your rib cage forward, and when you exhale, rotate your pelvis back, upper back rounds, chin comes down, hands slide down. So whichever version you're doing, a couple more times at your own pace. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, rotate your pelvis back, stretch your low back, round your upper back, head comes down last. And you can stay in that rounded position for a breath or two. Let your low back relax. Nice big slow breaths. And then on your next inhale, lift your chest, sit all the way back up. And then you're gonna come to a seated position. If you're sitting on a chair, scoot your butt forward so that you're sitting on the edge of the chair and bring your legs forward. And if I slide my heels all the way forward, my legs are locked out here. So I'm gonna put just a little bend in my knees. And same deal if you are seated on the floor. Instead of locking your legs out straight, you're gonna soften your knees a little bit so that we're gonna put the focus of this stretch more so on the back than the hamstrings. If you feel like you're kind of falling back on yourself like this, you might need to sit up on a couple pillows or something to help bring your pelvis back to neutral, and that will, again, take the strain out of your back as you're forward folding. That's why sitting on a chair is nice too. Sitting on the edge of it allows your pelvis to tilt forward so that you can put a little bit more stretch in your back rather than just pulling on the attachments around your hips. So either way, you can place your hands on your thighs. Inhale, lift your chest, get nice and tall, and then when you exhale, pull in your abs, round your low back, round your upper back, drop your chin down. And then when you inhale, lift your chest and slide your hands back, come back up to sitting. So you're gonna do that a couple more times. Nice and gentle. Exhale, pull in your belly, round your low back, your upper back, relax your head down. And then when you inhale, lift your chest and come back up to center. So it doesn't have to be a huge movement. When you exhale, you just slide your hands gently down your legs. There's no destination. You don't have to reach for your feet. Just look for that sensation of gentle stretch across your back, maybe around the back of your legs. And then when you inhale, wave your way back up again. And we'll do that one last time, and we'll stay in that forward bend. So when you exhale, pull in your abs, round your low back, round your upper back, relax your head and neck down, and you just stay here, nice and gentle. And you can still use your breath to help you stay in this position. So when you inhale, maybe lift just like a quarter of the way, maybe halfway up to lengthen your upper back, feel your back muscles engage. And then when you exhale, ease back into it again. So inhale, little length in the spine, and exhale, gently round your way forward again. Nice big, slow breaths. We're easing our way towards the end of the practice, so you can even let go of the focus on your breath just a little, so make it a little less dynamic and just hang out for another breath or two. Nice soft breath in and out. And then take your time to lift your chest and sit back up again. And then come on down to lay on your back. And just one last thing to do here. So you're gonna lay on your back and have your feet pretty close together. Relax your arms down by your sides. And on your next inhale, press down into your feet. Lift your hips, your low back, your upper back up off the ground. And when you exhale, lower back down again. And if you're seated in the chair, you'll do the Bhujangasana we did again. So when you inhale, press into your feet, lift your hips, your low back, upper back, and exhale back down. I'll hop up and show the chair version one more time. So when you inhale, if you're in the chair, you're gonna pull forward and engage your back muscles. And when you exhale, you're gonna round your back and look in towards your belly. So either way, you are engaging the muscles in your back, compensating for that forward bend with a gentle back bend. And then on your next exhale, you can come back to neutral. So if you're laying on your back, you can just rest your hips on the ground. If you're seated in a chair, I'll show you the chair version of the last thing. So again, you're gonna scoot yourself a little bit forward, and I have my feet together. I'm letting my knees flop open to the side. If you're laying on your back, same thing, feet together, let your knees flop out like a little butterfly. I'm gonna put my hands on the inside of my thighs, just to bring some awareness to the muscles here. So my hands are on the inside of my knees. And then when you exhale, you're gonna squeeze your knees together a third of the way. So with your hands, you can give yourself a little resistance. And then on your next exhale, squeeze your knees another third of the way. And then next exhale, knees all the way closed. And then when you inhale, knees open. We'll do that one more time. I'll show that on the floor too. So exhale, knees squeeze a third of the way. And you can give yourself as much resistance as you want. Keep your low abs engaged and your back pressing into the floor. And exhale, knees squeeze another third of the way. And it's normal for your legs to shake a little bit when you're doing this. And next exhale, knees squeeze all the way closed. And we'll do that one last time. Inhale, knees open. So by exhale, squeeze a third of the way. So by engaging your low abs, we're helping to stabilize around the hips and low back. Exhale, squeeze your knees again. And next exhale, one last squeeze all the way closed. And then we're gonna do that one last time, super slow motion. So inhale, your knees open, and exhale. Take like 5, maybe even as many as 10 breaths to close your knees. So you can either have your hands on your thighs or you can rest them on your belly or the floor. So the more you press your feet together, the more you slowly resist that movement, the harder the work will be. And so this is especially a nice practice for belly dance because of the lateral movement and twist that we put on our hips can cause some strain around the SI joint. And so this gentle squeezing the knees together, engagement of muscles around the pelvis and low abs, low back, this can help strengthen that area, real gentle like, and create some stability around that area that can potentially get a little bit tweaked. So once you've got your knees closed, take one more forward bend. So when you exhale, pick up one knee and the other, bring both knees into your chest. Inhale, chest and knees move away from one another. So take your time. You can be dynamic about this for a little bit. And then it might feel nice to stay with your knees in towards your chest. If you're seated in a chair, you can just hang in a little forward bend, widen your feet a little bit if you want. And do a little rock and roll side to side, massage your low back if you like. And then we'll take a short rest. So make yourself comfortable. You can cover up with a blanket or a hoodie or something if you have those things handy. You can rest with both feet flat on the floor. This is nice if you have any tension in your low back. Otherwise, you can straighten your legs. If you're seated in a chair, it's nice to lean back against a wall. If you just have the chair handy, one of my favorites is to lift my shins onto the chair. I'll usually like press into the chair so that I can pick up my hips and lengthen my tailbone. That gives another little support for the low back. And so you're just gonna hang out here for a minute or two. Close your eyes if you like. And you can have your hands resting along by your sides or resting on your belly or your body somewhere. And take a moment just to review the practice that we did. You can feel the effects of having moved your spine with your breath. And remember any of the movements or postures that felt particularly good. Take one more moment to feel the breath moving in and out through your nose. The quality of your breath in and out. And feel the support of the floor or the chair beneath you. And take just another moment or two to simply rest in quiet. And feel free to continue resting here as long as you like. When you feel ready, you can roll over to one side and take your time to sit back up. And keep your eyes closed for just a moment, little transition between your yoga practice and moving on with the rest of the day. Just feel the effects of the practice that you did. And take a moment to acknowledge the nice thing you did for yourself by carving out a little time to move and breathe. And then when you're ready, you can blink your eyes open.